Double slip stitches worked on the back loop only create a very lovely knit-like fabric that resembles knitted brioche stitches. To shape garments, I usually increase at the end or at the beginning of the row, and in this video I will show you how to do those increases and decreases. If you want to know more about this stitch, please check out this other video that I published a few years ago, which tells you exactly how to do a double slip stitch. And you can find all of my patterns on my website, nomadstitches.com. In order to shape the Fiamma Tank and most of my garments made with double slip stitch on the back loop only, you will be increasing and decreasing at the end and at the beginning of the rows where the pattern indicates. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to do the increase 2 and increase 1 at the beginning and the end of the rows, and also decreases at the beginning and at the end of the row. So hopefully that will help you complete your Fiamma Tank and any other pattern that I have made with double slip stitch or yarn over slip stitch. So we're going to start with this little swatch, and we're going to first do increase 1 at the end of the row and then at the beginning of the row. So here we are at the end of a row. And to increase 1, we're going to do a modified increase 1, which means that we're going to be working on the last stitch and the penultimate stitch. So as you can see, I undid 1 stitch so that I can work from these 2 stitches. So the modified increase 1 needs for you to yarn over, insert your hook into the previously worked stitch. So as you can see, this stitch already has something worked in it. So we're going to insert our hook in there and into the next stitch on the back loop, and then we're going to pull our yarn through that. We're going to do 1 more stitch in that last stitch, so we're going to pick that up, that last loop, and make our next stitch here. So out of these 2 stitches we have made 3. So that's what we call a modified increase 1. So this is how we're going to increase at the end of the row. And as you can see, there's like no holes or any gaps or anything like that. Now to increase 1 at the beginning of the row, we're going to chain 1. And all we're going to do is do 2 double slip stitches on that very first stitch. Very basic. 1 and 2. And then I will continue with my work. So this is how we increase 1 at the end and at the beginning of a row. Now we're going to decrease 1 at the end and at the beginning of a row 2. So to decrease 1, we're going to work until the last 2 stitches. And then we're going to do an invisible double slip stitch 2 together. So on those last 2 stitches, we're going to yarn over, insert our hook into the next BLO and then the next BLO. That's back loop only. Yarn over and pull through 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that's it. So I'm going to show you again. That's the invisible double slip stitch 2 together. Yarn over, insert hook into the next stitch on the back loop, insert hook into the next stitch on the back loop. So I have 4 loops on my hook, and I'm going to yarn over and pull through all the loops. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so that is decrease 1 at the end of the row. To decrease 1 at the beginning of the row, all I'm going to do is chain 1, turn my work, and I'm going to skip that very first stitch and then work in the next stitch. And that's it. That's how you decrease 1 at the beginning of the row. Now these decreases are a little bit hard to see sometimes, so I would recommend placing a marker on your first stitch of the row so that you don't miss that stitch. What we're going to do now is increase 2 at the end of the row. So to increase 2 at the end of the row, we're going to work until the last stitch. There you go, and there is my last stitch undone. And now I'm going to do a modified increase 1, just like I did before. So I yarn over, insert hook into my previously worked stitch and the next stitch. yarn over and pull through all the loops on my hook. Okay, and then I yarn over and insert hook into that last stitch. So you can see that last loop. Pull through and pull through everything. Now I've increased one so far. Now the next thing I'm going to do is do a double slip stitch on both loops of the last stitch. So I yarn over and I'm going to find both loops. So here's one and there's the other one. And yarn over, pull through 1, 2, and 3. So it kind of bends a little bit, but this will keep all the gaps closed. So I'm going to show you how to do that increase again because it can be a little bit tricky. So I have two stitches at the end of my row. I'm going to do one more so that I only have one stitch. Then I'm going to do a modified increase. So remember, yarn over, insert into the previously worked stitch and the next stitch. Yarn over and pull through all loops. Now yarn over and insert hook into the last stitch on the back loop and pull through everything. And the last one, I'm going to yarn over, insert hook into both loops of that last stitch and pull through the stitch and also through the loops. And that's how I increase 2 at the end of the row. Now to increase 2 at the beginning of the row is a lot easier. So I'm going to chain 2, turn my work. I'm going to skip the first chain and then I'm going to do a double slip stitch in the next chain. There you go. And then I'm going to do those modified increase ones that we did before. So I yarn over, insert hook into my previously worked chain and my next stitch, pull through the stitch in the chain and pull through all the loops. And then I'm going to yarn over and work one in that second stitch that I worked through. And there you go. Now out of one stitch I have 3 stitches, so I have increased 2. I'm going to show you that again. So this is the end of my previous row. Oof, everything's a bit tight. Alright, so this is the end of my previous row. I chain 2, turn, then I work 1 in that second chain, 1 double slip stitch, then a modified double slip stitch increase, 1 and 2 into the previously worked stitch and into the next stitch on the back loop. Yarn over, pull through everything, and then on the back loop of that second stitch. And there you go. Again, this first stitch is a bit hard to see, so you might want to put a marker there. And I'm going to work all the way till the end. Okay, to decrease 2 at the end of the row, I'm going to leave 3 stitches unworked at the end. So 1, 2, 3. And here I'm going to do an invisible double slip stitch 2 together, which I've done before. So yarn over, insert hook into my next stitch and the stitch after that. Pull through everything. And then this last stitch is going to be left unworked. And that's it. Chain 1, turn your work. We're going to decrease 2 at the beginning of the row, which means I will skip that first stitch and do an invisible decrease after that. So yarn over, skip 1 and do an invisible decrease right there. And then I continue to work to the end of the row. So there are 2 main stitches that can be a bit tricky when it comes to increasing and decreasing. The first one is a modified increase, which if you remember, you yarn over and then you insert your hook into the previously worked stitch and the next stitch on the back loop. And pull your yarn through and pull through everything. And then you're going to work another double slip stitch on the back loop of that second stitch, the one that you've just worked in. So this is what a modified increase looks like. And then there's also our invisible decrease, 2 together. So you yarn over, insert hook onto the back loop of both of the next 2 stitches. 1, 2. yarn over, pull through 2, and pull through everything else too. And continue. So those are the 2 main stitches, the invisible decrease and the modified increase. And that's how you shape your garments at the beginning and at the end of your rows.